All right, when winding your car, you want to take the rubber band, you want to pull it back over the zip tie, and you're going to wind around this axle, which means your car is going to go in this direction. So you're going to pull your car back to wind this around the axle. And let me show you how to do that, and I recommend you guys counting how many times you pull back on your car so you can be consistent and know how much distance you get out of pulling it back. So I've got my rubber band around the zip tie. I'm going to pull back once, hold the wheel, lift, move it forward, let it go. That's 2, 3, 4. A couple things to keep in mind. You don't want your rubber band to get too close to the zip tie. I like to keep some separation. So when I'm winding it back, I'll typically keep a finger here and keep some distance in here so that the rubber band spreads out across the axle. And you can see now here that the rubber band is winding across the axle wider, not building up on the zip tie. If the rubber band is actually gets caught on the zip tie, it's going to cause trouble for you. A couple of things to look out for that'll cause trouble. One thing you may find is that you get your rubber band wound up nice and tight around your axle, but when you go to release it, it may spin out a little bit at the starting line, and that's because it's trying to accelerate a lot, and the wheels are spinning and basically burning out because you don't have enough weight. So there's going to be a point of how much you can wind up your axle based on how much weight your car has. So it may, for those of you that added weights to your wheels, you'll get more wind up around your axle and you'll probably get a little bit more distance. For those of you that have added no weight, keep in mind it's a very light frame, and if you've got a lot of rotation on the wheels at first or a lot of rubber band wound around the axle, it's going to spin out before it grips and takes off. So you're going to lose a little bit of distance that way. Something else that may happen when you wind up your car and let it go, it may propel itself for a short distance and then stop, even though there's rubber band still wound around the axle. And what you're going to have to look for is this phenomena here, where the rubber band gets caught underneath itself. It sounds silly, but you'll notice here that one of the rubber bands is still wound around the top of the axle. This one is wound underneath because it got caught and trapped itself on one of the sides and sucked itself into itself, the rubber band. There's really not much you can do about it. That's a total chance thing. It happens sometimes, other times it doesn't. So, it's just one of those things that may happen just because it's a very simple machine. The rubber band might just trap itself as it's unspooling and catch itself and then suck itself back underneath the axle as it's spinning really fast. And it could have to do with the tension possibly. So I would recommend trying to wind up each side with an even amount of tension. But if this happens, what you're gonna have to do is just unwind the axle in one direction until you get it all the way. That was the wrong way. Sometimes it's a learn as you go kind of a thing. So I'm gonna unwind. You can see here this side. Oh God, that would not have that in frame. So I'm gonna unwind this side here, and now I'm going to unattach that from the zip tie, and then I can just let it. Whoops. I want to make sure it doesn't get caught back up under here. I can then let it kind of unspool and just try and unwind this side now and undo the other side until it uncatches itself. It's a little bit tricky, so this is one of those things that's going to be very frustrating for some of you guys, and it's very difficult to try and figure out and master, but it's one of those kind of nuances with the car and the rubber band. So it takes a little bit of practice to kind of and a few tries to get it to unspool and to fix that. All right, and lastly, one of the things that may happen is when you let your car go and the rubber band unspools from the axle, it should then coast for a little bit. So the rubber band gets loose, the forward momentum should carry it, it should coast. But what happens is sometimes the rubber band, because it's so long and loose, it might start flapping and it might catch back around your zip tie and then roll back towards you a couple feet. Again, just by chance, it sometimes happens. Whoops, can't control it. If it happens, then just you get a relaunch. Good boy. And it's gonna have your donut, buddy. You ready? Hold on. Hold on. All right, then go get it.